What if Louis is like, this is the only way to get true forgiveness, and
it's by jacking off in front of the royal family. Yeah, by jacking off in front of Mohammed bin Salman or whatever his name is. Again,
with Gerben Gullion.
I genuinely think that people would be like, all is forgiven, bro.
I know.
All right. What's up, airheads? We're back once again, I reckon, here in the virtual Airstream studios. We're going to give it a shot, see if we can soldier on through one entire episode without any technical maladies.
Well, you know, with Burns, I don't think
a number of weeks.
Yeah.
I know, but you're right. And I don't know how much of it he cuts out. I know at least one of the times. I know at least one of those times I ended the episode alone because you had been banished to the shadow realm by the gods of technology. And I told everybody, Cho's got horse internet, nothing hits there. So I'm just going to finish this out by myself. So they're at least somewhat aware, I think, of our recent tech woes, but hopefully that won't happen this time.
Hey, so around. I've been telling, it won't happen. We're fine. We're good. I've been telling people over on my Hero, which is welovecorey.com, that oftentimes I'm doing my vocal exercises, when you jump on, just to annoy you, but but today we're coming, it's a little different. We're coming in a little different, but I got one today that I think really works. You want to hear it? Mm-hmm. Getting diarrhea at dinner. Getting diarrhea at dinner. Really, it gets them all. You know what I mean?
Getting diarrhea at dinner.
Yeah. It really opens it gets getting diarrhea at dinner.
Let's just pick a random, let's say, see the well-read comedy tour on the road in Rome.
Phoenix.
Rome.
Oh, okay.
Where we would never be welcomed. Rome, Georgia. We hit Rome, Georgia. Yeah.
I think we'd hit harder in Rome, Italy, frankly.
Actually, yeah, you're probably right.
I think especially with this show, we do have some listeners in Italy. Thank y'all for being there. Appreciate you.
Anyway, well-read comedy on the road in Rome. Say that, but say it all. I'm getting at something here. I'm curious.
Okay. Well-read comedy on the road in Rome.
Right.
So it's just all about doing it.
That was my theory immediately. I was like, it almost feels like you could take
anything,
just about anything, and if you really theater kid it up with your, you really stretch your jaws out and enunciate and hit every syllable and all them consonants real hard and stuff, that you'll still get the same thing out of it, I would think. But I'm sure that's wrong. I'm sure that's very ignorant of me.
Pinching Papaw's pussy in Pascagoula.
Because see, to be fair, what we're both doing, even though you just made something up, I just made something up, we both did pick something that still has a kind
alliteration,
of flow to it. Yes, right. Like of some kind. Yeah. There's some sort of literary factor involved with both of those. It's not literally just like, Cho's guts don't hit today. Right. There's nothing rhythmic or musical about that.
Accuracy.
But, Cho's guts don't hit today. Like,
now, I don't think
it does. So I think it's
there's something to the alliteration.
I don't think it's just, I think it's any of those grammatical mechanisms or whatever the right term is for them that you can use to make speech more flowery and poetic. I think you got to use some of those. You put some of those together in a sentence and then go after it in theater kid fashion, and it seems like it'll probably work. But if you just say any regular old dumb stuff,
right?
You can't gussy it up.
Fondling females' fun bags in Fallujah. What does that do for you? Anything?
That's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, that'll get you killed with rocks real quick.
Actually
get her killed with rocks. We'd be fine.
I'm sorry to laugh at. Obviously, I don't think it's cool to kill a woman.
Since you brought that up, very organically, let's talk about places that kill people with rocks.
Me and Trae were both excluded from the Rida Comedy Festival. We did not get accepted.
Is that how you say that?
I don't fucking know. My problem is I read more than you wouldn't think. But I tend to, when it comes to news, I read more than I listen. So whatever the first thing I think is, that's how that is forever. That's why I got, rightfully so, people, when I did Skews with you, people were like, Corey is not pronouncing Kamala's name Right.
Right.
And because I just read her name, and that is how you say Kamala from like WWE, and like I just honest mistake. But surprisingly, yeah, it's because I read more than I listen.
Yeah, because how did you even pronounce the city in Saudi Arabia just now?
Rida.
I'm sure, as in
Flow Rida.
Yes,
Yeah,
Flow
Rida.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Radia.
I think it's Riyadh.
Well, potato.
It's definitely spelled Riyaadh or AHD, one of the two at the end, Riyadh. But when you first did that, I thought, because two places I could think of geographically where that's happened to me, but not just me, but a lot of people. The capital, I think it's the capital. Sorry if I've got it wrong. Y'all been all over the news for years now of Ukraine, which I always thought was Kiev, right?
Oh yeah, I thought it was Kiev too because of chicken.
Apparently, it's Kiev. So even the chicken would properly be pronounced Kiev.
But was it because of the chicken? You thought?
I just because of that word having.
You knew. Hold on. You knew the capital of Ukraine before you knew about chicken Kiev?
Almost certainly, dude.
Bitch, what? What you
chicken
mean?
Kiev is not you act like that's a staple everywhere.
And
like
Ukraine is?
Ain't nobody having that enchilada. No, but I would, but like I'm saying,
what, school?
School.
Well, you went to college.
Chicken Kiev ain't coming up in school. And it's not coming up in Putnam County or Clay County, but like Ukraine will be school.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have known the capital. Like, I'm sure I knew about Ukraine. You know why I knew about Ukraine? Because of fucking Wacko from Animaniacs. That's
sure. Well, I don't even know. Now they've just been in the cultural consciousness for so long now that I don't even know for sure. It's just one of those things where it's like, if you'd have quizzed me 15 years ago, what's the capital of Ukraine? I don't know that I would have come up with it immediately. Right. But if you mentioned the name of that city, I would have been like, oh, right. Yeah. Ukraine or somewhere over there. And like, I'm vaguely familiar with it.
And 15 years ago, you didn't know about Chicken Kiev? 15?
I'm not saying that that's when I became familiar with you. I just picked 15 because before they became newsworthy all the time in America
PK
is what I meant.
Yeah, PK and post-K. Post-Kiev, pre-Kiev. It's the same thing.
Yeah, pre and post the
Crimea. Well, I believe we've been post-Crimea for a long time,
That whole thing, I feel like, is when Americans started being, hearing more about Ukrainians and stuff like that is when that happened, which was, like 2014 or something. Anyway, Kyiv, and then the other one is the recent host of the World Cup a couple iterations ago, right there. Yes. I remember at that time, people were saying, they were like, actually, every American thinks it's Qatar, but it's actually Qatar. It's pronounced Qatar.
Oh, really?
And both of those things.
It's Qatar.
See, I feel like at a certain point, pretty quickly, people just did what you just did, and we're like, fuck that. They're like, I don't even care if that is what it's supposed to be. That ain't it. I'm not doing that. And it's like, this is about to be even dumber than the dumber things I've already said. But to me, I almost feel like that's fair, because when you consider that, like Germans don't call Germany, right? It's Deutschland, right? And so is that not how that happened? We being English speakers just decided at some point, they had to have said, no, we are Deutschland, right? And we were like,
right, no, Germany.
Yeah, right. And then just rolled with it. And now it's in books and shit. And it's the official English word for their country, but that ain't what they call their own country. And it's like, I think Japan is like Nippon.
I'm glad you brought them up, because here's my thing. I would put a gun to a Japanese person's head that never heard of the U.S. and ask them to pronounce Nebraska and see if they fucking get it right. And I ain't going to be mad if they don't. You know what I mean? We all talk different around places. And like, to us, guitar, keytar. And also, that sounds way better than cutter.
I agree.
Cutter. It's whatever. I saw this video the other day that really hit for me specifically, and you're about to find out why. Spoiler, it's because I'm an idiot. And this dude, it was a super hitting black guy, and he was talking about yeah, right. But this was I haven't seen a lot of,
by their standards he hit. Yeah.
No, what I mean is I haven't seen okay, this is going to sound bad, but it's just, I haven't seen a super hitting black guy hit in the grammar space. Like this, what he do is like words and stuff. And I know that that's allowed. I'm aware that that's allowed.
This guy, you would say, you describe me, he's articulate, like very articulate.
Yeah.
And that surprised you in a way,
shocked me.
You did not see coming, and
it's because he was being pretentious, frankly.
Like, in terms of words, this guy's one of the good ones, I would say.
No, honestly, it's not even just that he's black. It's that he, like, usually this is either a woman thing, right? Well, actually, the grammar, he was going up against grammar Nazis, really. So it's grammar Nazis. When I think of a grammar Nazi, like someone that's like, actually, it's there, whatever, online. If that's their only like comment or argument to somebody, then I'm like, dude, you're reaching. Like, it don't matter. Especially when they do it on someone's post that wasn't being awful. They were just like saying, like, my granny's birthday, her and her husband are going to, and I'm like, just shut the fuck up. Like,
I agree
that's when it bothers me.
I agree completely. If it's somebody that's been harmless, especially if it is some kind of sentimental post or something, but they misspelled there, and the first comment is like, it's pasta fiore. I hate that, but the reverse, though, when it's someone who's being super pretentious about something else, but they fuck up, there, and the comment is just pointing out that they got that, like that,
that's fine.
Totally hits for me.
Because that's
it's like the inverse. So I'm saying right. So it's like, it just depends.
So
on
this
the
dude, and I'm gonna try to find this video to show it next week and find his account. But it's just one of them things that, like, when you're in the algorithm and right when you decide, oh, that thing hit for me, it just floats away, and I can't just be typing it, black person spells good, like, you can't do that. But he was going through like all these people's comments, and they were like, actually, that's not the phrase, it's this or whatever. And he was going like, well, actually, the phrase used to be this, and we changed it to this because of the mechanics of learning and blah. And basically his whole thing was, he's like, look, the only thing that matters in language is, did you know what the fuck I meant?
Right.
Because if you know what the fuck I meant, then we don't have to be having this conversation, because that's all words and letters and stuff is to try to get information across to you. And if I have successfully done that, then actually I'm not wrong in a way. Like, in a way, we can just move on with our lives. Now, obviously, if you're in a fucking heated argument, you're going to use anything as ammo. I get that. But that was his whole point, was like, that's the whole, and that's how they, part of that is how that's how they caught the Unabomber.
What, grammatical errors?
So they know the first time they ever used in an FBI profile, someone's like writings, like not their like handwriting, but like their actual diction, like how they put words together, how they put sentences together. They studied all of his letters, and they when they'd made the profile, they realized, like, this is clearly an educated man. Like, clearly this is an educated man. And so this profiler got it down to like, okay, he was definitely but based on the format that he writes in, this would have had to have been in the 60s, because they changed that type of formatting. And he's clearly a doctoral candidate because of this. And they get it down to all these things, right? And they noticed that the Unabomber in his letters would say stuff like, the U.S. government wants to eat their cake and have it too, right? Mm-hmm. That's how he said it. Wants to eat their cake and have it too. And everybody at the FBI was like, oh, so you think he's so smart he can't even get that phrase right? Well, turns out that is actually how the phrase was supposed to be. And that gave the Unabomber away, because they did a search for this in all these dissertations, and they saw Ted Kaczynski at the University of Michigan, or whatever the fuck it was, Didn't he go
to Harvard?
But he was when he was teaching. It was a thing when he was a professorial like thing that he had written where he used that phrase that way. And they were like, literally, we've never seen anyone do that except for this here. And they got him. Right. But he was doing it like in reverse, where like he was writing it and we all think it's wrong. But in his pretentious mind, he's like, but that's the right way. So
I got to say, no, I'd never heard that. That was lovely. I really appreciated that fun fact and anecdote. And what I've left thinking here at the end of it, as I've often thought before, is, man, the Unabomber was spot on with that.
Dude, have you read the manifesto?
Because, I have. It's so wild how many. Yeah, no, he really, like, not the whole thing. And obviously, the execution, no pun intended, of his was off or whatever. But, like, he be spitting throughout quite a bit of it. But like with this here, because we've talked before about phrases that people that mean the exact supposed to mean the exact opposite of what people think or that people don't understand. And like whoever was the first person who got that idiom backwards, really fucked up a ton of shit because for years now, people always they love to say it's like, by the way, that don't even make no fucking sense. How you gonna have your cake and eat it too? Or people want to have it's like, of course you can't eat cake if you don't have it. No. Sorry, I fucked it up. People are always like, people are like, that don't make any sense, by the way. Oh, he wants to have his cake and eat it too. It's like, yeah, you gotta have cake but to eat it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what people always think. And it's like, well, no, but it means
to keep it.
If you cannot continue having it once you have it. So you cannot both eat it and then also have it. But people interpret it that other way just because it's flip-flopped. Like if it never gotten flip-flopped and Kaczynski had his way, like with many other things, we'd all be better off right now. If it was still pronounced that way or said that way, you wouldn't get smartasses online trying to point out that it's, some bullshit or whatever. When really it isn't. And it's perfectly cromulent if you think it through. But
this dude also made the point that like,
did you ever even get to what the guy did? The bruh that hits for you?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was that he was pointing out that like the entire point of language
is to get language.
Yeah.
I thought you were in
there was another thing
word or something that he
No. But no, that's why I want to find the video. But I just wanted to get to the ultimate point of like the entire point of communication is that we articulate what we mean and that someone interprets it. And if that happens, then you've achieved it. It doesn't matter if you pronounce something a little bit off. Like you shut the fuck up. It's fine. But another thing, he was in this idiom of Kaczynski's or whatever. He was sort of being like talking about like the have your cake and eat it too thing. And he was like, look, man, he's like, I also got to say, like, if a phrase used to be something 300 years ago, but we've been saying it like blah for 300 years, it's this now. Like it's the other way now. Like we've changed it.
I was actually going to bring that point up too, that when it comes to grammar Nazis and stuff, like at a certain point, even like the fucking Oxford English Dictionary or whatever, at a certain point, and I don't know how they determine that. I don't know if they have like a word committee that gets together or whatever, and then decides, hey, is it time? Is it time for?
Can we let the rednecks have ain't?
Yeah, but it's like ain't bussin', like all these words that I doubt bussin' is yet, but all these words that enter the lexicon but aren't grammatically correct or whatever. But eventually they will adopt them and be like, you know what? It's a word now. Enough people use it. People don't question it. It's accepted. We calling it a word at this point because of your buddy's larger point, which is that's what language is meant for. That's what communication is like.
Somebody made up the word that.
It gets exactly. Somebody made up every word at some point.
Should we stop?
Exactly.
Like,
and when we don't, people who fuck with words, agree that we shouldn't stop. Like professionally, I mean, but we're talking about grammar Nazis and online, and those people who love to go up their own butts and feel superior to people and shit like that. They don't think all that shit through a lot of times, and they're like, well, actually, it's fucking whatever. And it's like that's not.
And for the record,
any of this,
I know a lot of people are probably thinking, "Oh, Corey's sensitive to this because he's definitely been calling out at it a lot on the internet." And I hear you, but it's not the most common one. I have to think is there, and there. Like that's the most common one, right?
Definitely. I fuck those up all the time.
Right. All the time. Me too. But to my knowledge, in like a public post, I usually get it right because of how the internet be. I'm ultra aware of like, bro, make sure it's the right one. The one that's pissed me off the most, and I know it has for you too, I wrote an entire fucking thing on it, is I'll write ain't, and some asshole will talk about how like that's not, but it do be though. Like it is a word now, but even before, like, fuck you,
Fuck you, yeah. Same with y'all, like eventually, dude, y'all is such a hidden word that eventually pretty much everybody came around, and now it's like, not even really obviously we always get to claim it. But like I'm saying, people in California say y'all and shit at this point. So, but that I haven't seen the guy you're talking about, but you reminded me of a guy that I saw on Instagram and sent to you recently. And I never brought up his race at all. Just saying, we ain't got to like elaborate on any of that. I just said that like this dude, well, let's just watch it, and then I'll say what my thoughts are on it and why it hit for me so much. All right, so here it is. As always, when I hit play, if you can't hear it, stop me. We'll figure it out. If you can hear it, we're good to go. Just so everybody only listening knows, the guy that I'm talking about, the guy that I'm talking about who hits for me is the second guy who speaks, not the first guy. Okay, so here we go.
Think about this for a moment. If you start with 3, you multiply it with 0, you end with 0. So how does that work?
See, I see the problem, fuck nigga. You confusing multiplication with addition and subtraction. Talking about how you started with. You ain't start with shit. You heard me? See, addition and subtraction, you actually start with that 3. You have that 3 in your possession. And anything that's added or subtracted from that 3 is what you will end up with. That's facts. I feel you on that. But see, multiplication, see that 3, see, multiplication is like, we just telling you what we gonna do. You heard me? And you gotta solve the problem to see what you get at the end. See, that 3, you don't start with that 3. I'm just telling you that I'm gonna give you $3 0 times. And once I give you that 3 0 times, you ain't gonna have shit, fuck nigga.
Think about this for a moment.
Dude, right. I remember that you had sent this to me and I knew what was coming, but I had totally forgot the greeting that he starts off with.
Right. I had to, honestly. Yeah, right. Yeah, I had to. But
no, yeah. It's amazing.
So I sent it to you and I said something like, I want this dude to get hired to like spend to just full time explain to smart, dumb motherfuckers why they are being dumb about a thing. Like that.
He should be on Cameo.
I want this dude to just do that all the time, because it's like, as Cat Williams himself said, like, there ain't nothing worse than a smart, dumb motherfucker or whatever. And it's like, and that's what they all like this dude at the beginning, so wrong completely about all of it, but he's presenting it and they like, think about this for a second. Have you ever thought about this?
Yeah.
And it's like, he's approaching it like intellectually, because he thinks he's like, I got this figured out, and other people don't realize, but he's dumb though.
Right.
And this other dude very eloquently and appropriately pointed out, illustrated to him his dumbness. I hope he saw it. So, but
no, that dude should be on Cameo, where like you should just be able to like send that guy, be like, hey man, here's a link to the thing. Do what you do. I'll pay you. I'm gonna download this video and then I'm gonna post it in the comments.
But and so like one of the top comment over here also is a good way of making summing it up even more succinctly. If you get paid $23 an hour, but you work 0 hours, you got $0 in word, LOL. So, and I mean, again, like, right. So you would think, and you would hope that like, even that dude at the beginning of that, even he could read that and be like, oh, damn, I guess she's right. But the thing is with people like that, they can't do that.
Dude,
like they double
down.
They double down every time. This is all just the Dunning-Kruger effect or whatever, but it drives me insane. It's the worst part of dealing with these people is that they too dumb to know how dumb they is. And that makes them impossible to deal with. Like, I think I've talked before about, I saw a thing got upvoted heavily on Reddit once because people were shitting on this lady, rightfully so. It was same exact tone as the first guy in the video I just showed. This white Christian woman talking so pretentiously and so condescendingly about like, people really are out here actually believing that dinosaurs existed. Seriously? Okay. So you're telling me that gigantic lizards roamed the earth for millions of years?
Yes, bitch.
Before, right? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly
the whole time you're sitting like, yes, bitch. 100% yes. But you can tell. It's like, but she just like, not only is she so wrong about it, she's like so confidently and condescendingly wrong about it too, and it just drives me up the fucking wall, man.
Dude,
I can't handle that shit.
It's bad. Terrence
Howard.
He had a little run of that, and the math one specifically is what brought it up, because he's a whole like 2 + 2 = 5.
Isn't his thing right? 1 + 1 isn't 2, or
1
maybe
+ 1 = 3? It's one of those. I mean, what's the difference? Equally stupid. But like there was not only is he doubling down, there was like a whole 4-hour podcast surrounding just that thing. And I feel like Terrence, and by the way, Terrence Howard is a great actor. I don't know anything about his personal life. He's whatever, him excluded, but like the Joe Rogan
Hall of Fame bag fumbler too, by the way.
Boy,
the original War Machine,
yeah, Rhodey
in the MCU. Boy, fuck
man,
that up.
He sure did.
Imagine demanding.
And he's been fine since.
But still, bro. Imagine demanding. The whole reason for that is I always heard it reported was him being like, "Hey, I should be paid the same amount as Iron Man,
right? Yeah, dude,
for the Iron Man franchise or whatever." And it's like, I get whatever. He's a white guy, you're a black guy, whatever. But it's literally Iron Man, and he plays Iron Man. And of course, he's going to get paid more than anybody else. What are you talking about?
Well, and it's not an Ant-Man and the Wasp situation. The movie's not called Iron Man and War Machine.
War Machine, right?
And like. Right. He doesn't have as near as much screen time as Robert Downey. Like I would get it if. Well, kind of not.
If it was a two-hander or something.
If it was a two-hander, it's like, but no, fuck no. It's not even close to a two-hander. No. Dude, most people, even like casual fans who have seen the Iron Man and stuff like that, like I guarantee you they couldn't, even since Don Cheadle took over and Don Cheadle rules, most people still will be like, what's his name again? Like what? Like, and that is nothing wrong with that, but like he's a complete supporting character for fucking Iron Man.
Right. But what were you going to say about him though with math or whatever?
Just that like not him specific, because again, like I've only seen Terrence Howard do this one time, and he doesn't have a weekly podcast where he continues this type of behavior. But not to get political, even though we do have to circle back.
I know I was about to bring that up to you because I was going to say, imagine how funny it would be if we just didn't. We teed that up, and then because you pronounced Riyadh or whatever, and I was like, and then we just do an hour and a half about other shit and never get back to that at all. Like there'd be people fucking
so mad,
furious about that. But I had not forgotten.
Luckily, what I'm about to say, I think would have got us back there, because what I wanted, it was the podcast he was on was Joe Rogan, and it's like the double down, like, oh, I know that you just explained this to me in a perfectly rational way, but you got to understand, I said the wrong thing publicly, and I can't admit that I was wrong. So fuck you. And they're saying this to scientists. Part of that is like part of that whole attitude, and like white men got it more. Oh my God, in spades. I mean, that's the white man's credo is no, you wrong. You know what I mean? And I think that's gotten us in a lot of trouble, and we're clearly in a bad way because a lot of these same comedians, but then also some comedians who I'd go, oh man, they weren't, have now been like, well, I guess if we're going to live under a future oligarchy and democracy is going to be stripped of its very foundation, we may as well go perform for sultans who chop journalists' heads off, who, by the way, they're the main prince, maybe
MBS. They call him
that dude. Yeah. He's got an entire wing at the prison that they nickname for him that is just filled with people that he gets arrested when they say the wrong thing on Twitter, and they hang them upside down for like fucking weeks, right? And this is the guy that these comedians are performing for, and to me, it just doesn't seem like that hard of a line in the sand.
Sure, but do you think, you just said, you're like, oh, I get, you framed it as being like, you were like, some of these comedians out here, they're going like, oh, look, if we're going to live in a totalitarian oligarchy or whatever, might as well just start making money off of any of them. But do you really think that any of them really even thought about it that way outside of maybe realizing, oh, that's a way I can spin it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe. Do you think that any of them had genuinely had the thought of being like, oh, this is what makes it that I rationalizing it that way, I guess. Sure. I'm sure at least some of them did. But what I mean is it's still a rationalization. Like,
no, what I think is that no, it's not like that was their way to spin it, and that wasn't their immediate thought. What I mean is the last 8 years of the erosion of the fabric of morality has just made it to where people go, this is what we're doing now. Like, that's what I think. I think that if like if the Trump administration had never happened and we'd not dealt with COVID and all this stuff, and then this thing just randomly happened, I think a lot of people would be like, fuck that. Like, what are you talking? I think that we've just gotten to a place culturally, and comedians now are like more rewarded for being like, you know.
But it's also like, and I mean, I know you agree with me on like all of this, but even that doesn't really change anything for me, because it's like, also, this is adjacent to a thing that's come up a lot in our comedy careers from the very beginning. One thing that occurred to me early on when all this, so I'm sure everybody already know, Saudi Arabia is having a comedy festival. They got a lot of the biggest names on planet Earth are in it. They're paying them an obscene amount of money, and a lot of people are very upset.
Not enough.
I'm also disappointed. But like, so that's what we're talking about here. But like, you know, years ago, many times over the years, from the very, very beginning, fans of ours, and of course, you know, we're fucking pissants compared to most of these names and stuff like that, but still fans of ours, people that like us over the years have said things like, are you guys really going to do that show in North Carolina? Like
Georgia too. Yeah.
Georgia came up when you're from there, obviously. Mm-hmm. So that, but it was like, you know, because, you know, Bruce Springsteen canceled his shows in North Carolina or whatever. It's like, well, hey, we ain't the same, you know, as Bruce Springsteen. We're not going to move the needle that much. But what we always said, which I fully believe in, was I was always like, and by the way, people would say this because North Carolina passed the anti-trans bill, or Georgia did some fuck shit. I don't even remember at the time.
Abortion.
Abortion stuff. And so our fans were like, you need to boycott these states or whatever. And our position was always like,
I couldn't even go to the gas station then.
Exactly. Know? Yes, right. You live there, but those same people, I'm sure, would be like, "Yeah, you should move."
They did say that.
I'm sure they do. But like, what we always said was, we were like, "Look, we're fucking the people at our shows are 100% in agreement that sucks. Like, we're not." Like, this is not us showing our support for the state for doing that. We're going there and giving the people who agree that the state sucks for doing that, you know, a night of entertainment. Like, it ain't the same thing. Like, as somebody who always, you know, grew up feeling like that we all get, you know, painted with the same brush, just being from not just the South, but also the rural South, and spent my whole life being like, okay, but I'm not like that. No, don't lump me in with the rest of them. It felt like it would be us doing a version of that by being like, no, fuck, you know what? You guys should go to the State House and fix it yourselves if you want us to do a comedy show there, because this is unacceptable. And it's like, fuck that. That's all bullshit. And at first glance, you know, you could see like shades of a similar argument with this, but the reason it's completely, totally, utterly different is that, like, we were just selling our own tickets to our own
at
fans
a theater owned by random people,
owned by a guy, just some dude or whatever. It's not a state sanctioned thing.
Right.
It's like,
if I did Brian Kemp's birthday party, I'm a dick.
Right. That's what I was about to say. If literally the administration of North Carolina at that time, or like if the Trump administration itself now tried, which of course they never would, but if they tried to hire us and we did it and people were like, that's fucked up, it'd be like, yeah,
fair play.
But just going to a place and doing it is a completely different story. But with this case in Saudi Arabia, because at first I didn't know. At first I was like,
I didn't either, and I was
like, is this just a comedy festival that's happening in Saudi Arabia, and the royal family or whatever they're called, they don't even have anything to do with it? I was like, because if that's what's happening, then it is the same scenario, and people in Saudi Arabia do deserve to be able to laugh or whatever, 100%. And so I'm completely fine with it. But that isn't the case, as I understand it. It is, as with many other things they've done, like with Live Golf or whatever. It's from the PIF. It's an attempt at like pop culture washing, you know, in this case, comedy washing their reputation. Like, it is the state, the royal family itself, doing this to try to make people forget 9/11, which we were told we were never supposed to do. Pete Davidson, you were told
we kind of did this year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right. We did.
We really did. Like, and it sucks because that is my favorite fucking holiday. Like on the internet, at least, you know. And then it was just ruined by Charlie Kirk 2, Electric Boogaloo. You know, it didn't hit.
But it's an established fact that that's what's happening, and that's what they're doing, and that's the purpose of it. So that makes it completely, totally different, and it is fucked up to sign up for that. You know, like, I don't know what to tell. Again,
especially when you got as much money as these motherfuckers have. Like, they gotta have secrets.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is that because it's a huge lineup, and some comics that are like, if you're like, even if you're not like struggling, but it's like whatever, you're very middle class or what as a comedian in reality, and you've got like a family and all that shit, and it's like, dude, they've offered me a life-changing amount of money, and I just fucking, I feel like I couldn't even look my kids in the eye or whatever, which, you know, you'd think you'd have trouble looking them in the eye, supporting shit like that. But either way, whatever, it's like I can begin to get my head around. But like, so many of these names are, like you said, this is the way Mark put it. Mark was like, Mark was like, a lot of those names, like some of the lower tier names on that list or whatever, he was like, even though those people are doing fine right now, he was like, I still think that the money they are getting from this, it will be spent on something.
Yeah.
He was like, but the names at the top, he's like, it's just going in the fucking dragon hoard.
Dude,
with the rest of their gold that'll never be touched. Their kids won't ever touch it. You know, and it's like, and that just makes it even more egregious. It's like, what is the point, dude?
It really, I mean, you know me, I get a little conspiracy minded, but honestly, just up until this point, thinking about it, it makes me feel like they do have something on these people because, like,
I think you're giving them too much credit by giving them that out.
No, it's the money, bro. It's the Burr one specifically. Like
he's
the other one,
the hardest one.
Like Louis, Jesus Christ, you know, like although
so
honestly, that still surprised me because like Louis did some disgusting things and he should have been punished for him, but like politically, he's still sort of maybe not even politically, but I always still found him to be like moral aside from sexuality. Like in terms of lopping journalists' head off, I always assumed Louis was on the right side of history on that.
Yeah, but that's still the whole thing with him that happened put him in a sort of like he ain't got a lot to lose type of place.
Oh, he has nothing to lose.
Right.
Well, none of them do, really.
Yeah, I don't do, but I don't.
Burr
maybe you're right, but dude, Burr, I feel like I've seen nothing but universal. Again, it's not even like, I mean, it is anger, but it's more that like the classic dad vibe of like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Actually, I'm both. But I'm saying, but so many, and I don't even mean me. I just mean like people that purport to love the guy. Like he has his own subreddit, right? His own Bill Burr subreddit.
Yeah.
And they're furious.
Well, the right has started to hate him now, and now
he's alienated the right by, I would argue, keeping it real,
keeping it hunted,
which is why this is so disappointing to other people, because it's like, bro, you have been fucking spitting game about so much shit, and this particular choice just completely undermines all of that, like forever.
Frankly, I don't like. To me, this is no longer like, and I saw a lot of this when the golf thing went on. If everybody don't know, live golf is live actually is for, it's the Roman numerals for 54 because they only play 3 rounds, which is 54 holes, which is stupid. But anyways, I saw a lot of this happening where like it was like the conservatives. I know the show ain't political, but like it literally now just means the conservative value is to take the money, because like, to me, this should not be a divisive political thing. Like, bro, the people on the right are the ones telling me I don't think about 9/11 enough most of the time. Like I need to have a flag in the back of my truck that says 9/11 on it. And now it's like, these are the dudes that fucking Toby Keith died for. You know what I mean? Like, and now, but
did
y'all
Toby Keith die for nothing?
Did he die for nothing? And like, honestly, you know what I'm a little upset about? Y'all love to be racist. Where is it now? You be racist towards these Saudi princes, but they can't because they're giving Chappelle money or something. Like this should not be a left or right issue.
And while, to be fair, I don't think it entirely is. I'm sure there are plenty of people on the right who are like, hell yeah, this is, whatever, get your money, capitalism, fuck it. But like, I've definitely seen plenty of otherwise generally right-wing coded, I guess, places online or sources also complaining about this. And it might just be, because they hate
hypocrisy,
Muslims and Arabs and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like that might be part of it for them. But I know that like, there's definitely at least a little bit of a bipartisan reaction to it. But I saw that, a clip of another comedian who wasn't asked to go, but sort of saying like, and Drew shared it to our group chat. And he was like, I think this is going to be the argument, which I know we already kind of touched on, which is what you started with. But he was like, look, dude, he's like, people are saying, you're really going to go to a country where they commit these atrocities or whatever. He was like, my whole career has been made in a country that commits atrocities all the time.
We don't hit.
Right. No, we don't hit at all. But like we said, you ain't doing shows. It's all it's that, but also you ain't doing shows for the regime,
right,
in this country,
right,
generally. And if you are, you have nothing, because that's a lot of these people, as we've also alluded to. It's like no one is surprised, and so they're generally fine.
Dude, Rob Schneider didn't get invited. Think about that. That's great. Yeah.
He's got to be hurt by that for sure. But
he didn't turn it down.
Yeah, but some of them, like there's just some of them are far more egregious than others. Any woman comic who's going over there, there's a couple gay women, there's a gay Jewish woman comic, and I know it's like, dude, it's like, what are you gonna fucking talk about?
What's your act? Yeah, what's your act?
Oh, that's the other thing I was gonna say. That some people have been clinging to this hope, especially with Bill Burr in particular.
I'm still clinging, and I know it's falsely.
Well, it ain't over yet. We don't know. I ain't heard no bell, but a lot of people clinging who love him so much, but not just him. A lot of these comics clinging to this hope of like, here's the caveat: if he goes over there and tells them about themselves to their face, if he goes over there and does the Philadelphia rant, but about Saudi Arabia in front of the the royal family or whatever, it's like, then I take it all back, and he's right back to being a fucking legend again. Take their money to fucking go, whatever, humiliate them on a global stage or whatnot. Yeah. But like, I think that's a fantasy because first of all, they wouldn't get the money, but maybe that's your plan.
That makes it double hit.
That makes it double hit. Right. If he rips up the check, yes, you're right. That makes it double hit. But yeah,
because of course that's in the contract. I wasn't surprised that was in the contract.
But then there's also the idea, and I don't think they would do this to an American star. I don't think they actually would. But it's like, if anybody might, it's them motherfuckers. It's them. But the idea that like people are being like, bro, they ain't. He and none of them ain't gonna do that because they fucking string you up by your ankles and kill you with rocks and shit over there. And it's like, even if they don't take it that far, they can make your life really, really shitty over here for at least an amount of time. Exactly. Yeah, they could do a lot of things.
I could see them being like, okay, it would be a real bad diplomacy issue if we, put Bill Burr in our gulag, but we could just send him back to America, and then an unfortunate accident could happen to all his family and friends. What if Louis?
Which is why if he does do that, then I also take it all back. And again, he's the GOAT at that point for all time
over everybody, everybody. It's not going to happen,
right? What if Louis? That's just copium, they call it copium. We're all huffing.
Michael Shannon. Them Michael Shannon types like from Boardwalk Empire that whips his back to punish himself.
Yeah,
for
they
stuff.
self-flagellate,
and like there's examples of that in other movies. Like Tom Hanks was his character in Green Mile. Like he has to live and see everybody he knows die because he got that magic from whatever. What if Louis is like, this is the only way to get true forgiveness, and
is by jacking off in front of the royal family. By jacking off in front of Mohammed bin Salman or whatever his name is. Again,
with Gerben Gooley in the crowd,
I genuinely think that people would be like, "All is forgiven, bro."
I know. And what if that's his? And what if his plan is like, "Look, man, it's made me so miserable that like obviously he's still fine and stuff, but that stuff weighs on him as it would anybody." He's like, I was like heralded as the best. I was going to be Woody Allen, which I know that's a bad comp now, but like we're only talking about in terms of film. That was the comp.
Absolutely.
Like Louis,
that was just he was like pumped on his way to that. Right,
I was so pumped. And
then the movie that he had in the hopper to pull that off was called "I Love You, Daddy," and it came out right when all that happened. It's like, bro, that is a tough break, dog. The timing and optics of that is just about as bad as it can fucking be. But you're right.
But so
be the next Woody Allen.
So if there's part of him that's like
Woody Allen shit happen.
Yeah. If he goes over there and he's like, all right, two things are going to happen. Either I'm going to do this, pull it off, and I will be welcomed back by everyone as a hero, or they kill me, and frankly, I want to die, and that's worth it. It's fine. That's my legacy because he no matter what he does from now to whenever, and it's unfortunate. You fuck one goat, It's like, dude, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Now, Louis did a lot to ruin comedy in terms of now we all have to work on 7 hours of material.
Yeah, but that's just that. Honestly, that's just inside. Well, no, it's not. I was gonna say it's just inside baseball shit, but it isn't.
No,
it actually made the product worse.
Yeah,
that for the consumer and the comedy fan too. By the way, though, that's not. It's Louis' fault, but it isn't his fault. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't hold that against him. No. You can't hold that against him.
You know why? Because
you are right.
It's not his. But you know what? Because all of them hit. He did it, and they all actually hit.
Yeah, so
that was the problem.
What Corey's talking about is like, if y'all don't know, if you're not, because it is a little bit of an inside baseball conversation. Before Louis' peak in the aughts, the late aughts and early 2010s, comedians pretty much never, although massive exception of George Carlin, who used to do that already, but besides him, comedians generally never put out a special. What would you say? 3 years or so? 3 plus years,
3 plus at least
in between hour-long specials for comedians. And then Louis started putting and then Louis started putting them out every year, and he was the biggest comic on earth, and every comedian suddenly felt like, oh shit, that's what we have to do. And it did fuck a lot of comedy up, because we ain't all that motherfucker.
No,
like
dude,
he's his own thing. He's like a generational talent comedically, however you feel about everything else. And so, but almost all of us are literally incapable of doing that, but yet people felt obligated to try. And so a lot of bullshit has come out in the years since.
And you add that, and podcasts weren't even a thing then. If you add that to podcasts, and we can get off this, but like the pressure and Instagram, like the pressure to, like, everything has been, the product has been completely thinned out, because you have to be putting so much shit out all the time that it's like, dude, of course they're not all going to crack, bruh. But you feel like they should, and your audience feels like they should. It's like, why isn't every one of your clips viral? It's like, because, dog, I'm tired, like whatever. Anyways, my point was, as great as Louis was, and as great as Louis is, he could put out a new special that banged every year until the year that he died, and he's still the dude that jacked off in front of women, unless he does this.
Right. And then he's the dude that jacked off in front of a sheik. And,
then all that other stuff's a footnote, and he is fucking Abby Hoffman times a million. Like, it'd be amazing. And so I hope that's what happens. That's what I hope.
I said before, obviously it's easy. Whatever. You can make the point that it's easy for you and I to say this because we weren't offered, and it is true we weren't. But it's like, I'm not in this. I'm saying especially the most egregious cases are the guys who have multi-generational money already and do not need this under any circumstances. And then especially some of those guys are like, this seems baldly hypocritical on top of that, like ethically and philosophically. But either way, it's not just that. Coming up in the spring after the regular football season's over, they're going to hold a flag football tournament over there filled with American superstars, and Tom Brady is going to be the quarterback, and Max Crosby is going to play defense, and all, like, nothing but stars.
Gronk.
And like I said, do what?
Gronk.
I think every player is currently active except for Tom Brady playing quarterback, which makes sense. That checks out. I think. Yeah. But I said when that came out, I texted y'all in the group chat, and this applies to the richest comedians in this festival too. I was like, dude, I'm not just saying this. I genuinely believe that if I had Tom Brady signed a $375 million announcer contract the day he retired, to say nothing of the hundreds of millions he made as a player and in endorsements and stuff.
And his food company.
I genuinely believe that if I had even close to that amount of money, that money that I could never touch, no matter how hard I tried my whole life or my kids' whole lives. Like, I don't even care if their politics could be great.
I wouldn't even do it in South Carolina.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I could agree with their politics, and I'd be like, dude, that's too far. It's too high.
I don't want to throw.
I am not doing that. Like, politics aside. So when you add in the politics, the fucking the crimes against humanity on top of that, it's just so crazy to me, because I really believe that, again, I'm not in that position, but I know how I be. I know how I be about doing things. And I just think if I was set at that level, I would say no, if for no other reason than, like, I don't want to fly across the world and be in the fucking desert for a week or whatever.
I tell you what,
to say nothing of everything else on top of that.
And everybody says they're like, yeah, but there's certain amounts of money that you can't. Well,
everybody's got a price.
But here's the thing. And look, he has been at the Trump White House, so I'm not saying his politics are great, but Liv offered Tiger everything but a sultanship, and he was like, "Fuck that, I'm not." Like literally, they offered him $1 billion, and he didn't even really have those guys. Even the ones who aren't hurt and stuff, they barely have to play, and that's the reason a lot of them it's like when it first happened. Before I realized it was backed by the Sultans. A couple of those dudes, like Brooks Koepka, for instance, he had just come off a bad year and he had tweaked his knee, and he was like, "Look, man," he's like, "They're offering me $500 million and I don't have to win." He's like, "My whole family, great grandkids are set up for life." He's like, "How could I turn that down?" He's like, because whatever. But Tiger, again, he was like, "No, I'm not." But he is somebody with brain. He's a billionaire
again, and I don't.
But how much you need, Tom?
Tiger still did the thing that he should have done, and that's good for him. But I'm saying I think that is a little different because it's like this is just a temporary flag football tournament that doesn't mean anything. If they were asking Max Crosby and fucking Jamar, I don't want to start naming players because I can't remember who all's there, but NFL superstars, if they were asking them leave the NFL.
Yeah,
come here and do this for this amount of money. I'm pretty sure most all of them would say no because it
depends on the money,
dude. It had to be a crazy amount.
I
know, but if you're that level, like I'm saying, Tiger he's like, no, I'm the best I'm the best all time in the universally recognized legitimate league or whatever. Right. Like money's a big, but with athletes and stuff, there's also championships and prestige.
Mike Trout played for the Angels for 15 goddamn years, dog.
I know, but that was loyalty. Though.
I know, but I'm just saying, they don't all give a fuck about championships. It is sometimes just about the money.
Just championships. It's also it's just being in the.
But dude,
being in the real thing.
But I don't think you understand the other parts of it, which was for the players of golf. What the thing that wasn't just attractive about the money, it was literally cutting their schedule into 25 by fucking 75%. So for the comp would be it wouldn't just be Jamar Chase is going to go play in Saudi Arabia for 10 times his contract. He also only has to play 4 games.
It kind of is the same comp too, because I was actually just about to bring up the wear and tear on their bodies would be significantly less. And that's Max Crosby might be like, well, I won't have applesauce in my skull in 10 years if I go and do this.
And I'll have the same amount of money.
And honestly, now that I think about that part, that almost kind of makes it fair, really.
Yeah.
In terms but either way, that's not what's happening here. That's not what they're even attempting to do. But yeah, I don't know. I think we should take a quick break because we haven't taken one.
We should.
We've been going hard, so we'll be back in just a minute.
Guys, here's what I want you to do. I want you to enter the room dick first, because you know what? It's old hat walking in arms first or even head first or anything like that. And I want you to do it with our friends at Blue Chew, because Blue Chew ain't just a tablet. It is a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting. It's like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. You know what I'm saying? It's the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. Y'all know I've been using it for going on 8 years now. And yeah, I'm not going to say that it saved my marriage, but the thing is I think a lot of people hear you talking about a wiener pill, and they're just like, well, that's just for dudes that's wieners don't work. So it's like, my wiener works fine, but with having a baby and being on the road and being married, you have a lot of stresses, and sometimes you literally just freeze up. You know what I mean? I hadn't had it in a while, but you could get, used to get stage fright. Well, your wiener can get stage fright, but this gives you the confidence that you need, especially if you're on a first date, because as we all know, you can't make a first impression twice, unless it's a 51st date situation. You know what I mean? And also it's great. It comes in a discreet package, y'all. Your male woman or your male man or the lady at the pharmacy don't have to know anything is going on. It's all between you and them. And you can do this all online. You ain't got to go nowhere. And it's not just about performance. It's about legacy. You want to give a group chat something to talk about, when you lay it down, they're talking about how it gets up. And nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we got a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of Blue Chew free. Just use promo code POA at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's literally it. It seems like that's a typo, but it's not. It's just pay $5 for shipping. Boom, you got it. Joins Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to BlueChew.com for details and safety info. And a big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. And Trae,
get you a new dick.
Why wouldn't you?
Let's talk about gambling. What do you say? I'm a sports fan. I'm a sports gambling fan too. I just makes things more interesting. What can I say? Now, despite the fact that I do like sports gambling, I'm not the type of guy that's generally been able to consistently curry the favors of the goddess of fortune. Let's say I ain't lucky worth a damn, or maybe I'm just not that good at it. At least I haven't been. So here's what I've started doing. I'm not going. There's a play you can go on.
Bro, you're a Raiders fan. That's the problem.
Well, I don't bet on the actually. I bet exclusively against the Raiders, and that it keeps me in the black. So that's a good strategy too. But I found a handicapper online that I like, and it's communities in this. They literally call this guy Nostradamus. But I just found it. And they say, "Oh, this dude almost never misses." So I was like, "I'm just doing what this dude does." So I did that for the first time last night during Monday Night Football. We're recording this on Tuesday. Here's why I like sports gambling. Monday Night Football last night, one of the games was between the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. They're both winless. Ugh, gross. Nothing.
Also doubleheader.
No appeal to that whatsoever. But because I put a little bet on it, now I'm interested. It's got entertainment value. I was into it. But the guy's pick was Garrett Wilson, receiver for the Jets, over 5.5 receptions. This guy's Nostradamus. It's the first bet I've tailed of his. We get down to a minute and 30 seconds left in the game, and Garrett Wilson has 4 catches. And I was so ready to be like, my God, my curse is so strong that I've killed Nostradamus. Me getting on board has ruined the best bettor on this website forever. I was so ready to rant and rave on our group chat about that. But then in the final 90 seconds, Justin Fields threw a touchdown to Garrett Wilson with 90 seconds left. They stopped the Dolphins and got the ball back with 2 seconds left. And with 2 seconds left on the very last play of the game, he threw a little nothing Hail Mary lateral play dump off to who else? Garrett Wilson. It cashed with zeros on the board when all hope had been lost. And I was fired up through the roof. And that's a game, again, I wouldn't even have been watching.
Of course.
Right? So that's
beauty.
Fun. That's the excitement you can get out of it when you hit a big bet like that, when something cashes, and that could be you, y'all. It could be, because our sponsor, MyBookie, makes it stupid easy to get in on the action yourself. College ball, NFL, super contests, survivor pools, you name it, they got it. All the spreads, player props, and in-game lines you could want, all under one roof. And if you're new to MyBookie, you could use our code POA, and any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. That's right. Make your play, and if it don't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your bet back bonus token. Remember, use our code POA, and they'll cover your bet up to $500. There's no better time to jump in, no better place to play. Football's back. Let's all make some money with MyBookie. MyBookie, use the code POA.
Okay, Trae, here are some new words that are being added to the dictionary, if you're interested.
Right.
Farm. This is what I don't like. Farm to table. It's but they've already got all 3 of those words, which you just add them up and that means a thing. You know what I mean? Why do you Riz? Dad bod.
See, Riz is a good example of what we were talking about. I guess dad bod kind of is too.
But also, again, they have dad and you have bod. We could all figure it out. Here's the one I think I hate the most: adulting. I can't stand when motherfuckers say adulting.
So you're telling me is this the Oxford English Dictionary or
Merriam-Webster?
Merriam-Webster. Well, they they an authority, I would say.
Beast mode. I'm a fan. I'm for that. Side eye. I would have assumed that had been.
I was about to say, I can't believe it took side eye this long to get on the list. Goddamn, Riz gets in that quick, but side eye is just now making it. Fucking after 20 plus years.
Hard pass, which again, that's a phrase, not a word, but whatever.
I agree with you. I was about to say I would not consider that a word. Farm to table, I was actually willing to sort of kind of debate on, because I'm sure it's hyphenated, right?
It
Farm,
is. Yeah, it's hyphenated.
Hyphen to hyphen table.
Hard pass isn't though.
I know that there's still such thing as open compounds or whatever, but I agree with you. I agree with you that seems more like a phrase than a word.
And this one,
I thought dictionaries was for words.
Right. And I guess this one kind of, if you didn't know what this was and someone said it, you could be talking about anything. Cold brew. Okay, whatever. Because like, I guess if I heard cold brew, I would think of a beer. If I didn't know what either one of those things, if I didn't know what a cold brew was, if said you want a cold brew, I'd be like, hell yeah, I want 6.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree with you. Yeah, that one's fair.
Then the last two here, well, I think there's a longer list, but this is like the most, impressive ones or whatever. Here's 2 words I had never heard of in my life, which one makes sense. You know what a teraflop is?
Is it some kind of data thing?
It's like a unit of measurement for
amount of
and
a unit of measurement, massive, right?
Yeah, for computing performance. Because like I know that a terabyte is what 1,000 gigabytes or something. Because like a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes, and I think a terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. And then
I think you're right.
And here's one that you'd think me and maybe you do. You'd think me and your fat ass would know. But it is relatively new on account of COVID. Ghost kitchen. You know what this is?
I do. I thought we didn't talk about that on here.
We've talked about this thing, but I don't remember Ghost Kitchen coming up.
I didn't know what they were, and then I found out what they were like earlier this year, and I thought that I brought it to the show, or maybe I did it on Well Read, but I thought that we talked about it, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
No, the thing is, anyway, I knew what the thing is. I knew it's a business that prepares food exclusively for takeout delivery. I knew that. I just never heard the phrase Ghost Kitchen.
And it's also like they apparently a lot of them, they operate, there'll be like a commercial kitchen space.
Yes.
That a bunch of different ghost kitchens will be in at the same time. It's like renting out space in like a farmer's market or something kind of, but digitally, like renting out a stall or something. No, it is smart. I mean, honestly, I don't, if your stuff hits or whatever, I mean, I don't really have a problem with it. Am I like, as people who appreciate legit restaurant tours and food and stuff, is that a thing that we should be against? I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? What are my principles on this? Like, is that a thing that,
to me, it depends on what kind of food
people think is bad?
Right. To me, I would think it would depend on the type of food you're serving. Like, I mean, everybody knows that we mainly get pizza takeout. Like, I would say, what do you think the percentage is of pizza that is consumed in a restaurant versus consumed at your home? It's got to be 80-20.
I was about to say 80-20 is what I was going to say.
80-20.
Well, 20-80.
Yeah, 20-80. Right. Like, obviously, like, I'm not going to order takeout chicken Kiev to go back to this, because that's something that, like, you want that to be served at the optimal temperature, right? But like Chinese, all that burgers, all that stuff, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't know if this is like an Airbnb situation that we should be. Is that what you meant?
I don't know. I'm saying it just feels to me like something that some people who are real, that Mark, if Mark gave a fuck about food at all, instead of just eating fucking horse steaks with mustard or whatever and then doing push-ups, like if Mark gave a fuck about food at all, in my head, I just feel like Mark would be like, ghost kitchens are fucking total bullshit, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know that they are. It just feels like that to me. But because I think another thing what they do a lot of times is like, Mr. Beast or whoever will have a like restaurant that you can order from,
right?
But it ain't. It's one place that's almost like doing a bunch of like, the way like Costco, or not Costco, but like Swanson's and some of those, like,
love Swanson's,
or is it quite the wholesale food places that just give like frozen things to cafeterias and restaurants and stuff. That like, but they sell it under their own thing. It's like that, where it's like there's like a kitchen set up that makes a lot of the same things or close to the same things, but on Uber Eats or whatever, it's like 8 different storefronts, some of which say Mr. Beast presents whatever burger or something. And so but again, even that, it's like, I don't know if
it's still food, and
I don't know if that's like a problem or not. So let's
I'm like, as long as you're paying your.
Right. This is what this person said. Because I feel like this entered public consciousness. What this person says?
I love that is, and me too. On like Reddit. That's our research. Here's what this person says. So
I feel like this is just like, an argument,
an opinion
or whatever, but an opinion. So But anyway, I feel like this entered public consciousness, at least in part, during like COVID or whatever, when people found out, remember, that Chuck E. Cheese was selling their pizzas online delivery under a different name that I don't remember now.
Oh yeah.
But they knew that, like, and that was like
they knew nobody would order it from them.
Right. Exactly. They knew nobody would order it from Chuck E. Cheese. So they gave it a different name and put it on Uber Eats and they sold pizza that way, which during the pandemic, it's like, well, again, especially during the pandemic, just ever. It's like, fuck it. Right. So
if the pizza don't hit, they won't order from it again. And by the way, their pizza does hit.
So, all right. So this is from the DoorDash subreddit.
It's a good
and
one.
Obviously the DoorDash.
You a Dash Pass member?
No, I use Uber Eats actually.
Oh, right.
Is DoorDash better?
I don't know.
Because my Uber account is tied to my Delta account, so I get miles.
Oh,
fuck. Yeah. So
check it out. We're not sponsored, by the way. I just have become even more of a piece of shit lately,
anyway,
and I've been ordering a lot.
This makes sense, I feel like, because these are the people that go to these places and bring the food to you. So this from the DoorDash like drivers subreddit, and it says virtual restaurants are simply unethical. Virtual restaurants are unethical. So many restaurants now have alternate names online on Google, Uber Eats, DoorDash, etc. For example, Chili's sells their wings under a virtual restaurant called Just Wings. A local Italian pizza restaurant by me called Mike's has a virtual restaurant called Burgers and Shakes. Customers are unaware they're ordering from a restaurant that doesn't actually exist and that their food was prepared in the kitchen of a restaurant with a completely different identity. It's just another scam in today's dishonest world, selling shit to people who don't know what they're getting. I personally will not give any business who uses a virtual restaurant online in order to deceive a customer.
Oh, so okay. With the Chili's one, their thing is because Chuck E. Cheese was just like hey, it's COVID, people aren't coming in, we got to make a move. With Chili's, it's nobody's ever going to just order our wings, but somebody who just types in wings because they want wings, this will pop up and they'll be like, yeah, that's deceit. That is deceit. Because I want to know.
I don't know, man. I still
it depends on the ratings.
I still kind of don't even mind it. You know,
I don't either. Like, as long as the ratings are good.
If you make wings and you genuinely want your wings to hit,
right?
It's kind of just a way of like you said, getting people might not even know that they have wings,
right?
But if you do it that way and people look for wings, it'll pop up. You know what I mean? And then people might be like, I love this shit.
But what if you specifically hate Chili's wings? And so you're like, yeah, I'm not getting the wings from Chili's. Oh, here's a new spot.
I'll get it from Just Wings. And then it shows up and you're like, this is goddamn Chili's. And now you've been bamboozled.
Right.
You've been led astray.
Yeah, you'd think that they would have to put Just Wings by Chili's, that at least in the fine print or something. But I'm fine with Chili's wings if it's on my triple dipper though. You know what I mean? I'm not, if I just wanted wings for the night, in no way am I being like, let's order a mess from Chili's. So it does feel a little deceitful. But again, when I'm Uber Eatsing or Door Dashing, I look at the rating, and if the rating, if enough people say it hits, I'm like, fuck it, I guess it hits.
That's what I was about to say too. Is because that's, you should be held to account for that. You would think if you're doing some bullshit to scam people out of their money, but you're selling food, to me that means your food sucks or is fucking dangerous. The safety standards are low or whatever. But if you don't want to be on the front lines of the ground floor of trying that place out. But you said, if it's a few hundred ratings in and it hits for people and nobody's getting food poisoning and they think that it's good or whatever, then what's the problem? Again, really wish Mark was here to point out how stupid me and you both are in this moment.
Dude, please bring
his
this
favorite pastime, his number one pastime.
God, he loves it so much. But yeah, I was going to say, please bring this up on SKUs and just be like, Mark, just give me 5 minutes on this. I do. I mean, I say I respect his opinion. Not on food.
Not on food.
No, but this is capital. We got to remove the food from the, me and you are, I feel like we're so on food's team that we're like, I don't give a fuck. Just put it in my mouth.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, here's another angle. And so this, okay. I feel like this is probably where Mark would have gotten to. This is someone who lives in Las Vegas, talking about the situation in Las Vegas. And it says that what ghost kitchens there in Vegas, generally what they're doing is they're essentially trying to hustle customers away from hitting small businesses or like mom and pop restaurants or whatever that are locally popular. It's like Denny's, IHOP, Chili's, and more trick customers by hiding their identity behind virtual kitchens and still. And so like
you think you're getting
put a name
pop
on there that you think you're supporting like a local business or a small one, or you could even pick a name that's close to a local institution that everybody loves. It's like an actual small business. You pick like you do what's the name of that studio that does that with like when Transformers was huge, they made Transmorphers.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called, but
it's called it's not circus.
Something with an R.
It's something like but their whole business model is tricking mammals into accidentally ordering the wrong thing on Amazon or whatever by not knowing what the actual name of what the movie is. And apparently these like bigger, it's just a hustle for a lot of these bigger restaurants to do that with and try to like siphon business away from, smaller businesses and stuff. And so that is,
I got to say, here's my opinion on them now.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's framed like
circus, that. It's Asylum.
Yeah, I
was
looking at it right here because, that shit happens a lot. And that is like, man, that's a whole business in its own. Not just that, but like the trick and mammal's game.
Right.
You got people come from a long line of trick and mammal money. I mean, preachers are obviously at the top of that 100%. Because at least these people gave you a DVD. You know what I mean? Like that is still a 90-minute movie. The preacher's just like, bless you, But like, with like phone call scams and stuff. And I get these texts all the time. And like, obviously I know because I grew up in the world of text and stuff like that. And I'll immediately know it's spam or whatever. But like some of them now, like used to, I'd be like, God damn, these old people but now I'll look at them and be like, no, I get it. Like I get why especially like old people on Facebook, they just got one. They don't know how it works. And then like, it's ridiculous, man. Those are the people that need to go over to the comedy festival and get turned inside out by goddamn Sheik, people. But also, unfortunately, I think some of them already are over there.
Oh, for sure. Well, actually, I don't even know. I feel like Saudi Arabia, they got all that like oil money and stuff. I don't know if they're a hotbed for like low rent fucking con artists like that or whatever, but maybe they are. But I guess I'll give a shout out here. That post I just read is from a Vegas influencer, I think a Vegas food influencer, Jen G. And I'm only doing that because she follows me. So I guess I'll hit for her. So shout out Jen G. If you happen to listen to this show, thanks for helping. Yeah, right. Yeah, send us a fucking airmail or holler at me. We can talk more about ghost kitchens because we were on board until you showed us the way. So
dude,
appreciate that.
I mean, she's a legit Vegas influencer that follows you. I mean, I'm officially now. I'll tell you this: I'm glad we got here before Mark went in because Mark would have cemented for me that they were the greatest thing on earth. I'd be like, "Fuck you, Mark, you piece of shit." But you know what's funny? There's part of me that's like, I'm gonna get ahead of this. I'm gonna go in the group chat and like be the first one to bring up how terrible ghost kitchens are. That way, Mark will be like, "Look at Cho. He's Cho Guevara. He's gonna be my anti."
Well, I'm actually sitting here right now thinking, because when these first came up, you were like, do you know what ghost kitchens are? And I was like, yeah, didn't we talk about that? That's obviously food. So, of course, I was like, that was a me and Corey thing.
Yeah.
I'm now kind of thinking that maybe Mark did a thing on Skews about ghost kitchens. And that's why in my head, I was like, we podcasted about that because it was actually Mark.
Well, I knew
if he did it, it was 100%. Hey, this is how fucked up and shitty these things are.
I love that you don't remember it. I knew, but what I'm saying is I knew this practice went on. I just didn't know it was called a ghost kitchen because, I mean, that makes it sound hard. That makes it sound awesome, the ghost kitchen, you know. That sounds rad as fuck.
I don't know, dude. I feel like it's hard to get anything done in a ghost kitchen because, like, all the cabinet doors are constantly opening and closing. All the stove knobs are constantly going up and down and all this stuff. It's
Sheets are catching on fire.
Yes, fucking plates are flying into the wall and breaking and shit. And it's like, I just feel like ghosts, you can't, it'd be tough to make a good sous chef out of a ghost, I'd think, because they're so unruly.
Hey,
sous chef. Yeah.
Here's something I wanted your opinion on. I had threaded this, but you've been real busy this week, and I could tell because I've fired some haters in the thread and you didn't respond, and I know that means you didn't see them because you're my boy. You know what I mean? I know that. I have come to know this is what I believe. I believe this.
I had a 4-day run, a 36-hour window at home, which I'm currently in the middle of, 36 hours only, and then a 5-day run after it, and a bunch of videos and podcasts and shit to get done in the meantime. So you're right. I have been busy, so I apologize.
No. You're fine. I've gotten to a place where I know that it just means you didn't see it. Doesn't mean it didn't hit for you. It just means you didn't see it because I hit for you. You know, I'm doing the Stuart Smalley thing, but by myself. So I threaded this. My public library, and Chickamauga and Salina aren't the same, but a lot of similar people live here. And most people that go to our library, it's like me and Amber be going, but like a lot of old people hang out there, right? Well, usually the only thing that's on the sign, it says like Tuesday book reading. You know, that's usually what it is. Well, the other day I'm driving past it and it says this Thursday, Bitcoin seminar, right? Bitcoin seminar at the library, right? Where ostensibly, I guess someone is going to go in there and teach all the old people about what Bitcoin is. And my first thought was, here's the first step. Get a time machine and go back to 2004. That's what you need to do. But what I want to ask you is, how do you think people would respond in Salina, A, to there being a Bitcoin seminar at the library, or how would the people that went to the Bitcoin seminar react?
Yeah. Answer to the first question is, how would they ever know that happened? You can talk about whatever at the library in Salina. As a matter of fact, it's been a hotbed of liberal extremism, I think, over the years. I don't even know. The librarian when I was a kid in Salina was like, obviously like a community constant, was the librarian my whole life. I worked for her. They had like a tutoring program there that I did and shit when I was in high school, but she's probably long since retired. So I don't know for sure. I don't know what the situation is with the current librarian in Salina. But I feel like, don't you think, I mean, you tell me if Chickamauga is different. I mean, dude, they've been trying to get rid of public libraries because I feel like even in places like Salina and Chickamauga, they still library. You know what I mean? Like libraries be gay. You know what I'm saying? Libraries be woke or whatever, just because all the books alone.
Oh,
the sheer amount of books.
Unbelievable.
And
it's free.
Woke and gay, and it's free. It's socialist on top of all that. Like, but I just feel
ran by women too. I mean, it's a real 3 for 3.
Dude, I'm telling you. So I'm saying, like, I just feel like that's how, dude, Chickamauga kind of never ceases to amaze me because everything we just said about it makes it make even less sense that they're doing a Bitcoin seminar there, in my opinion.
Well, they already did it. And would you like to know? Would you like to know what it was like 2 weeks ago? And would you like to know what the next seminar was right after that? Social Security seminar. Right? Yeah. It's like, bruh, like, here's the thing you need because they taking this away from your ass is what it is. But the reason I even thought I was going to bring that up anyways, but like when I saw, like, most of the time Bitcoin to me was always like, you know, Bitcoin bros tricking other dudes who they thought could be Bitcoin bros into giving them money for their, and I was like, well, look, it's wrong, but at least it's just these dumbasses. Who cares? But like when I saw it in my hometown, knowing the type of people, like old people go to the library, and like all the people there's a lot of people near where I live that rely on the library for internet access and for their newspapers and stuff. That's when I was like, I was going to bring this up anyways, but now that I'm on the trail of like tricking mammaws out of their money, I'm like, man, but then for the next one to be a Social Security thing. And by the way, these are the first two things I've seen that wasn't just public reading on Tuesday. So I don't know what the hell's going on right now.
Well, I don't know what's going on at Chickamauga Library either, but because it's a public library, what I'll say is, like, the way you're thinking about it, which I hear you, is like if it's essentially a sort of like timeshare type of vibe at this meeting where the goal is to get people to sign up or buy my book about Bitcoin or whatever, then like that's a scam and that's fucked up.
Right.
But in Salina, I legitimately would give our library the benefit of the doubt and assume
mine too. Ours are good people,
right? And assume that it isn't that, it's a literal like
course
learning situation where it's like, are you confused? Because I'm confused by it. I don't fucking understand this shit either. So it's like, are you hearing this and you don't know what it is? You want to understand it?
Right.
Come here and we'll try to explain it to you. And it's like, in that case, it's like, obviously more power to them, you know?
No, dude, no. I hear you. It's just like, I can't imagine because, dude, I am actually, you know what? This is one thing me and the Mamaws and Papaws have in common. We know exactly the same about Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I would say.
I don't. Smart Mark has tried to explain it and just crypto in general to me. I couldn't tell you how many times, and I'm incapable of actually grasping it. I've just decided settled on that at this point.
To me, it's one of those things that the more you learn, the more you don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those wild things where like the deeper you go, well, that discredits that, and that is what, like, you know, what the fuck. But no, our librarians, at least the people who run the Facebook, hit because every now and then they will share our book on their page and be like, this was written by local author Corey Ryan Forrester and blah blah blah. And so that's, you know, that's nice of them. But yeah, it just, you know, I just can't imagine having to process sitting there as an 85-year-old Chickamauga woman having to process Bitcoin, you know, and then
right.
And thank God for I think it's a little too late to have the Social Security seminar, you know, because
it could. By the way, if your library hits hard enough, it could also be framed in a like, this is what to watch out for, so you don't get fucked over by some scammer trying to take advantage of you because you're an old lady and don't understand shit. In which case, it's like a public good, you know.
Oh, I bet
like
you
they're doing a good thing, you know. If that's what the point is,
I bet you that is it. Well, there you go.
Yeah, dude. Public libraries, they're good shit. They do.
It's just the Chickamauga of it all, you know.
And I've said this before, you know it, but very, very, very raven of me. First ever blowjob was at the public library in Colorado, which the most appropriate place.
Mine was behind a caboose.
Tasted horrible, but you know, I stuck it out.
He really needed them books, you know. That's when you found they're free.
Yeah.
What the?
So I think we
let's wrap her up.
Wrap it up. Yeah, do some airmail if you've got
do some airmail. I do. Okay, here we go. Hot limerick action and some giant stuff. Hey fellas, I know Trae has groaned every time I've written in, but I came up with a limerick while listening to the episode on Maximinus Thrax. There once was a man from Nantucket with a build sort of like Kirby Puckett. He was into DX, which is quite a weird flex, and his favorite slogan was "Suck it." Okay. Also, I like it. Also, my hometown of Topeka, Kansas has a guy named Daniel Gilchrist who is 7'7" and also tried playing high school basketball. It went about as well for him as the guys you mentioned. He ended up becoming an independent pro wrestler, called the Great Sequoia, and also an actor. He was cast in the lead of the ill-fated biopic Andre, Heart of the Giant, after the original lead, Matthew McGrory, passed away. Unfortunately, I think the project was ultimately canceled. Well, that's it. Keep on hitting. Go Dogs. Okay, well, that guy hits.
Did they say not to say the name? What? I groan every time they write in. I didn't. Yeah, I just do that just so y'all know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's just his face.
It's just my face and just my general temperament. I'm very often groaning, so I apologize for that. Also, Corey, that first limerick, I know they said, oh, this was inspired by Maximinus Thrax or whatever. But was that a Triple H thing?
It was. Yeah, it was. It was Triple H or Shawn Michaels, one of the two.
But Triple H is the Connecticut Blue Blood.
Yeah, he is the Connecticut Blue Blood. Yeah,
Nantucket.
That's right.
Wait, is that Connecticut or is that Massachusetts?
You know what?
Whatever. It's up there.
Thought when I read Nantucket, I was like, that's just how a lot of limericks
start. Because that's what I thought too at first. In fact, I was ready to sort of like give them some shit and be like, okay, well, that famous ancient Roman was not from Nantucket, just so you know, jokingly. But then by the time it finished, I was like, oh, they literally mean up around Nantucket. So yeah, nice.
Okay, here's one. Again, I haven't vetted these, but Cho and Trae, your favorite Venn diagram of fancy and trash are getting married. Good evening, Cho and Trae. Your favorite Venn diagram of fancy and trash, Caitlin and Dylan, the shameless book requesters. Oh, yeah, I remember them. Are getting married in Lexington, Kentucky, no less. Imagine a 70s rock and roll meets 70s country with a whole roast pig and a hell of a lot of Miller High Life. If you happen to be free April 11th, 2026, buddy, we got an invite with your name on it. We'll check the old calendar.
Congratulations.
Congrats. Hey, yeah, congrats, everybody. Is the P.O. box still active? I asked for a couple reasons, but not the least of which, Cho, we tried to send you a present to the P.O. box and the Postal Service sent it back to us. Oh, shit. No, it is still active. P.O. Box 240, Chickamauga, Georgia, 30707 for anybody, and I promise I will go check it.
Say, you still be checking it?
Dude, not as when I get an email like this, I'm like, oh shit. And when I get there, sure enough, there will be, like, I went the other day and got, this is a couple months ago, and got Christmas cards. And I was like, oh, I'm a fucking dick, and some of them, like, obviously we can't reply to all the just bags and bags of fan mail that we get, I should check it more because we got some mammals liable to put us some pudding in a jar. And I've got some sort of biological hazard going on at the goddamn post office right now. Let's do one motherfucking more. Okay, here's one. Questions I don't know the answer to. Why do they call you Cho? What the hell is that? Trae, you want to take that?
Yeah, this is the old lore, old Skewniverse lore here, and then we were there when it was written all those many moons ago. Here's the origin story of Cho. Me and Corey and our buddy Kevin and some other people were standing outside a bar in Asheville, North Carolina, very, very, very early in the well-read touring life of ours, and we were standing out there. And Kevin was saying that because that also means this is right when everything was like going crazy for me and I was going on TV and shit like that, like I used to do, if y'all remember.
Yeah,
all that was happening. And Kevin was saying something like, he's like, oh man, it's a fucking whirlwind for you, right? Or whatever. And I've been drinking. And I said, like, half jokingly in this conversation, I said something like, yeah, well, I'm the fucking, like Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. I'm fucking president and CEO of Trae Crowder Enterprises. And Corey goes, well, I'm the chief hitting officer. And then immediately after he said chief hitting officer, I saw his eyes. Like, he goes, I'm the chief hitting officer. And then you could like see it like go through but he like got so excited. He's like, I'm the chief hitting officer. Cho! And he just yelled Cho out. Fucking Cho! Right. And so Drew was always pointing out, it's like Corey, that's how much Corey hits, is that like you're not supposed to be able to give yourself your own nickname or like that, but he successfully did. But I would argue that it in part works because I saw it and it was such an organic thing. It's not like Corey showed up one day and he was like, I'm thinking we called me this. Yeah, right. That's not
I would have forgotten after.
It was just like a riff he was on and he said that, and it occurred to him that the acronym was funny and he yells out Cho, and then the rest is history. But Cho began as an acronym which stood for Chief Hitting Officer, but it is long since this is on theme for this episode, actually, talking about the evolution of language and words and everything.
Yep, sure is.
It long since has taken on its whole own separate meaning just as a word, I think, just Cho in general. So
there's two more questions here, but they will take a long time to answer. Not a long time, but too long. And so I think I'll save them to start off with the next airmail. If people don't mind. Trae, where are you going to be, buddy?
If y'all are listening to this when it comes out, I'm in Virginia right now. And I think you can still catch me in, let's see, Alexandria tonight, Rocky Mount, and then Charlottesville is what I've got left when this comes out. And then after that, there's not necessarily in this order, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Madison, Milwaukee. I think we're adding Fort Wayne, Indiana in December. Largo at Los Angeles in November 19th. That's a big one for me. And then at the end of the year, me, Corey, and Drew together, as always, at Zany's in Nashville the weekend before Christmas. It's a fun holiday tradition at this point, but there's also a ton of dates in 2026 already up and added. They're all at TraeCrowder.com. So come see me, please.
WeLoveCorey.com. That is my Patreon-ish type thing. It hits right now. Oof, I got to read this week's public domain Sleepy Time Theater, which is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And yesterday I did a really cool thing where I asked everybody. I was like, "Hey, I want to improv a story, but I need everybody to comment like, genre, location, yada yada yada, and I took them from everybody, and what I got was a noir set in London that included a farmer where Cthulhu was the prime minister, and I improv a 20-minute story about it. I did my best Cockney accent, and it was a shit ton of fun. So I do that and all sorts of fun stuff at welovecorey.com. Other than that, stay fancy, motherfucker. Come see us in Nashville. I'll say it. Come see us in Nashville. Stay fancy, motherfuckers.
Skew.
Here's Lydia Lovelace.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trae and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at putting on airs, putting on airs, putting on airs.